Good evening, everybody. Our February 27, 2023 meeting is now called to order. We'll next have invocation by yours truly, and then the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Harrington. We all stand. Let us pray. Dear God, thank you for the gift of life and for the gift of your presence. We stand here tonight, nearly 2 full months complete in this new year, with the hope and expectation of a brighter future for Natchitoches residents. We are grateful for the economic activity, the robust land clearing, the reemergence of vitality on all economic corridors, and for the huge wins of highly sought after state and federal dollars. We do not take for granted the way in which Natchitoches is moving forward at this point in our history. We also thank you for all individuals who dedicate themselves to the success of this fine city, the firefighters, the police officers, the public works employees, and every other city personnel who work every day to make Natchitoches the best town in America. Truly, we don't take your blessings lightly. Guide us once again as we conduct the important business of this important city. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Harrington, for leading us in the pledge. We now have reading and approval of the minutes from our February 13th meeting.
Mayor, I make a motion that we dispense with reading the minutes of February 13th and that they be adopted. No
Second.
corrections.
Okay, motion has been made and has been seconded. Any comments or questions, council, about that particular motion? Any public comments about this motion? All right, seeing none. Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. Next item, we have a special guest with us, gentleman by the name of Tom Watkins, Jr. He is a legal analyst with the South Central Planning and Development Commission. And Tom and I spoke for a few minutes on today. I think we had a really good conversation. I think what he's going to present, which is a new program to Louisiana, I'm hoping that it's going to be beneficial to Natchitoches businesses. And I say it like that because I want Natchitoches businesses to take advantage of this program. So listen to what Mr. Watkins has to present. So we're going to hear him, and then if there are any questions, I'm sure Tom can answer those for us. Please, Tom, before you begin speaking, state your first and last name, just for the record, okay?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Tom Watkins. I am with South Central Planning and Development Commission. South Central Planning is a regional development commission. We are based out of Houma, Louisiana, and we have been chosen, along with three others, to be what they call intermediaries on behalf of the Office of Community Development to help roll out a loan program called the Restore Loan Program. If you could go to, I think, the third page. Well, you can stop right there. So thank you. So it's the Small Business Recovery Program. This program is for small businesses that have been affected by Hurricanes Laura and Delta. It was a little while ago, but the money is here now. The program starts off May 1st. Originally, it was scheduled to begin March 1, but the OCD pushed it back to May 1. So what we are doing is we're coming to councils such as yours and chambers around the region to let them know that we're coming to town. We're about to enter into a little lease agreement for some office space, and we're going to be coming to Natchez and offering small businesses that qualify for these various loans. There's a loan package for between $10,000 and $150,000, with exception up to $250,000 at 0% interest, and if you pay back 60% of that loan within the term, which is a 7-year term loan, the remaining 40% is forgiven if you are not in default. So just in theory, if you borrowed $250,000, you paid back 60% of that, be 150, you are going to be able to, well, you won't have to pay back $100,000 of that money that you borrowed. So it's a really good deal. This program isn't for large businesses. This isn't for the Exxons of the world. These are for businesses that are struggling. If you would go to the next slide and perhaps the following. And one more. And one more. Okay, so I don't see this little thing where, no, it doesn't. All right, so this, if you look all the way to the right, you have a $96.1 million. That's two pots of money. That's the Laura Delta money and, whoops, the Hurricane Ida money. With respect to Natchitoches, the entire parish qualifies under HUD's guidelines. So any business that has been impacted and meets the criteria, if you move on. By the way, we got $50 million is for Laura Delta. South Central Planning has been allocated of that 50, $37.5 million to lend out. I'll be honest with you, I don't know what other entity has the remaining funds. Would that be about 17-ish or 13 mil left over? But we got 37.5 that we're going to be lending out. Our area goes from Lafayette west to the border and as far north as Natchitoches. Now, not every parish qualifies, but certainly Natchitoches, the entirety of Natchitoches does. Some parishes, as an example, only have a zip code of their parish that might qualify geographically speaking. So you'll see that the objectives of the program is to assist disaster-impacted small businesses with non-construction expenses. You can't fix your building with it. If your building suffered some damages, you're not going to be able to use these proceeds to fix the building. It's to aid in the recovery of small businesses located in the eligible areas for Hurricanes Laura Delta and, of course, the Ida and May 2021 flood. This program is to provide assistance to eligible businesses. You don't have to be a corporation. You can be a sole proprietorship, unincorporated, but it also will, nonprofit organizations, which are typically nonprofit corporations, will also be eligible to receive, or at least to apply for these funds. Next, please. The eligibilities. You have to have 1 to 50 full-time employees, meaning 35 hours or more. You had to have been open and operating at the time the storm hit. You have to have an annualized income of at least $25,000 of gross revenue. I shouldn't say income, but gross revenue before the disaster. If your operation was opened, 1 day prior to the storm, it might be difficult for you to qualify. If it was open 4 months before the storm, they're going to annualize that income stream you have coming in, extrapolate it over a 12-month period, and hopefully you will have reached that $25,000 threshold. You have to be located, of course, in one of the eligible parishes. You had to experience a financial or physical loss. So you heard me earlier say that the loan proceeds can't be used to rebuild your building. And that is true. However, one of the things HUD, it's really a HUD program through OCD, one of the things is that HUD is saying is, while you can't build your building back with the money, we're going to consider as in considering eligibility for the loan, whether you actually suffered $10,000 worth of physical damages. Next, please. Priorities. Businesses must serve a vulnerable population or provide an essential good or services. The HUD, of course, gives you the little definition of what is a vulnerable population as a group or community whose circumstances present barriers to obtaining or accessing resources. Oftentimes, I feel like I'm a vulnerable community. I mean, it's a very broad definition, and And it's a governmental definition, and this is almost a summary of a very long and detailed definition that HUD provides. But this is just a quick summary. Next, please. If you look on the left side of this chart, you have Lar Delta, right? And those are the parishes that HUD defines as most impacted or damaged areas. I think it's most impacted, I think it's damaged areas. That HUD is saying are going to be the first phase of parishes that will be considered for these loans, the small businesses within those parishes. And well, if you look at Acadia, for example, you'll see those are 2 zip codes. So the businesses that are in those parish or zip codes are the ones that are going to be eligible to apply. Outreach. So our job, of course, is to come out and advertise, billboards, social media, meet with business groups, meet with elected officials to say, hey, look, this is the program we want to bring to your community, to your small businesses. And quite frankly, my ask to you is to see if you guys can help me get the word out to those people that might receive some benefit for it. If we could sort of tag into y'all your website, maybe a link or something along those lines, anything like that, speak to whatever groups you might be speaking to, that this program is out there, we certainly would appreciate it. Next one. Eligible uses of funds. You can have up to 6 months of documented working capital expenses. So rents, mortgage payments, monthly non-owner employee wages and benefits. A question was asked today. A lot of times you have a very small LLC, and it might be just me as the owner, right? But that owner he is an employee of that company. Unfortunately, at least as it applies today, that employee owner is not going to be eligible. He's got to have at least one other employee. So the owner is not going to be able himself, if he's the single employee, won't be eligible for that type of wage benefit. And then, of course, monthly utilities, gas, water, electricity, etc. You can purchase movable equipment necessary for the recovery of an impacted business. You got a warehouse, your forklift got damaged, left out in the rain, who knows? That's just a silly example, I guess what I'm trying to say, of movable equipment. And then if it can be used to purchase inventory and furniture, if the furniture is vital to the business service, a doctor's office, right? The waiting area furniture, a restaurant, chairs and tables, things like that. Okay, next one. Ineligible uses. You can't buy property with it. You cannot, construct a building or repair it. You can't refinance a loan. A loan. You can't pay taxes, religious activities. You can't buy your partner out of the business. Those sorts of things. There we go. The loan packages, what we were talking about a little bit earlier. These are 7-year term loans, 60% paid back, 40% forgiven if you're not in default. And you see, you get the range for the loans will be $10,000 to $150,000. But like I mentioned earlier, and as you see here, OCD says it can go up to $250,000, but you're going to have to be an exception. This is a, it's not an uncommon sort of loan term in the sense that they oftentimes, if you say it nicely enough, not always, they'll grant you that exception if you can can more or less put a good foot forward in explaining why this exception to 250 is needed. I won't say they're necessarily generous, but they're understandable. 0%, 60/40, 7-year term. Loans that become delinquent. So let's say you go 4 years, right, on your 7-year term, you pay back your loans, but I don't know, something happens, you can't you can't pay it back for 90, 120 days, you're going to go into default. However, in the old days, your 8%, you're going to have default interest at 8%. Back in the old days, however, that 8% was calculated from the date of the loan. So, you know, starting at 4%. Well, we were able to talk with OCD, and we gave them our opinion that maybe we ought to, instead of saying 8% from the beginning, how about 8% from the date they go into default? So you don't have 4 or 5, theoretically 6 years. 6 years, 11 months, you know what I mean? Before you go into default, all of a sudden, bam, you got 8% on a $250,000 loan you weren't out anticipating or budgeting. So you got to have a personal guarantee for all owners of businesses that own 20% or more, and there will be no closing fees charged. And so that is just a quick summary. That's just a quick summary of the loan program. Obviously, as in any loan, it's a little bit more detailed that as you do the paperwork, you're going to have to meet. But I think this fairly represents, in general, what the program is about. So thank you. I appreciate y'all's time.
Thank you.
If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
Thank you, Tom, for being here, and I do want to allow the council, if they have any questions, to ask those questions. We are working on Tom and I are going to work on an informational type of seminar here, probably in this room. We're looking maybe beginning of April, so we're looking at our respective calendars but Tom has been really open. He's looking for office space here in the city.
Yeah, we're always looking for office space.
So this could be something that works for some of our small businesses, and certainly we want to expose them to any potential help that they could get. So we'll be organizing and working on something.
Thank you.
I do see a hand in the back, but before that, Council, do you have any comments or questions for Mr. Watkins? Okay. Mr. Kevin.
Oh, sir, I was just wondering, LLC with 2 members, is that eligible, or is the second person not considered?
No, it would be LLCs with 2 members. They may qualify, but they may not qualify for the recovery of income, lost income. So now, having said that, OCD has not come out with their final approval of all the terms and requirements that have to be met. And quite honestly, they do change. I won't say frequently, but there's been 2 or 3 changes since this rollout has come. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but as it stands right now. But I'm going to double check and make sure.
Any other questions for Tom? Tom, again, thank you. We'll be in contact about when we can set up a date, and we'll certainly advertise that and make sure small business owners are there to learn about the program and hopefully take advantage of it.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate the work. All righty. Really appreciate Tom being here. Moving on to our ordinances, and we have a few for final, and not a very lengthy agenda tonight, so a lot of us should be excited about that. There's several lengthy agendas before tonight. But this one is Councilman Nielsen, ordinance number 11 of 2023.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance approving the acquisition of a water fountain for placement in Cane River Lake, and further authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches, Louisiana, to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Cane River Waterway District related to the acquisition of the water fountain, and to execute any and all related documents that might be necessary and proper to provide for advertising and a savings clause. And I move that we adopt ordinance number 11 of 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt this. I think we spoke on this a little bit the last time. This is going to add a new one until the older one goes out. I think Matt shared with us that it was September 11th when the one that's still there was installed. So it's a matter of time, you know. So that means it's 22 years old at this point. So looking to do a new water fountain. I don't think we have an image of the new one, even if they decided which one yet. Where are we on that, Ed?
We know which one we're
We know which
getting.
one.
It's very similar to the one that we have. No, but I don't have an image with me to show you, but I did get my 3 quotes already just in preparation for this, so we're looking at about $43,000. And I know this is not to exceed 45, so we're within the money.
So it looks like the one is just newer, fresher.
Right.
It looks better because it's newer, would you say? Would you describe it like that?
I would say so. We're just on limited time with this one, and we're spending money to keep it running, and it's, you know, in the fountain world, it's a pretty big fountain, so it's a lot to keep it going.
Okay. Council, I don't know if you have any questions about this. Again, this is through CEA with the fully paid for by the Cambridge Waterway Commission.
Our intake's at a good level. I know the river is silted up, so.
Yeah, I think we still have plenty, once it's in the middle of Cane River, we still have plenty of clearance under it.
Okay.
Okay. Interesting question there, Councilman Nielsen.
We got stopped up one time.
Oh, really? This one
Had to
did?
get a new motor.
Okay. All right, any public comments or questions about the water fountain?
Yes, car size. If you would look at the overall time that this waterfall is in operation, out of a year's time, how much time limit that you all get out of this waterfall or water fountain at a year rate for its performance? Because when the water is down in the lake, y'all don't use it then, right?
I don't think we've ever had to shut it off, maybe only once in all these years because of low levels. It runs generally, it's not on right now, but it generally runs 24/7.
Last year, when the lake had got at its lowest, do you know how much time that you all used? See, when the water is lower in the river, on that side of the river. Now, over by the stage, I think it's more deeper than where it's previously at, because once it gets so low on that side, you actually can walk across the lake, because I have seen that myself. So what I was just asking, what would be the period of time over a whole year or 6 months, 4 months out of a year? And is Cane River Waterworks going to split the difference in the bill, the $42,000? Are they going half with you all, or are they going?
They're paying 100%.
Oh, they're going to pay the 100%. Well, that's good. So that don't cost the citizens of Natchitoches anything. Thank you.
Right. All right, thanks a lot. Any other comment, question? All right, seeing now, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT.
Yes. All right, next item. And Kevin and Mr. Tom Watkins, if you don't mind, if y'all want, it's great that you all are talking, but we're moving on a little bit. All right, that's cool? No, if you have more, you just asking you to do it in the hallway. All right, thanks a lot. Okay, next item on the agenda is also for final, is Councilman Harrington.
Ordinance number 12 of 2023 is an ordinance approving a memorandum of cooperative endeavor between the City of Natchitoches, the Red River Waterway Commission, and the Natchitoches Convention and Visitors Bureau to promote the use of the Red River for the 2023 Mr. Crappie Invitational Qualifier. I move to adopt ordinance number 12 of 2023.
Second. Motion made and seconded to adopt this ordinance with the Mr. Crappie Invitational Qualifier. I remember reading there was a dollar amount tied to this as well for promotional purposes, to promote the event, help to get people to Natchitoches. So it's a win-win for us. Comments or questions about this, council? All right, this is a similar agreement that we had last year. I want to say maybe 20 or 25,000 is tied to it this year, again, to promote this event. So, like I said, it's good for us. We're not paying to promote an event that's held here in the city. All right? Any public comment or question about this particular ordinance? Okay, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries as well. Next item on the agenda is read by Councilman Nielsen. And it's on you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 13 of 2023, an ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Natchitoches to award the bid for a bucket truck, a used one, for the city of Natchitoches Utility Department as bid number 0656. And the committee, we only had one bid, and it was for $125,000 to Altech Industries Incorporated. And I move that we adopt ordinance number 13 of 2023.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to adopt this ordinance. I believe Matt explained it the last time. Can you just refresh us real briefly, Matt, about what you were saying about this process and how
Yeah,
things are now?
we're actually buying a truck that we have prior knowledge of, so we know it's a good truck. It's in very good shape, well taken care of. So we put it out for bids and only received one bid. That's the one we're getting.
Oh, so we're buying a used truck.
Correct.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. Comments or questions? Council?
I got a question, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe, Mr. Mayor, you probably can help me with this. As far as like that type of equipment with the bucket trucks, do we often like allow other departments to use that, or is it mainly just tied to one department?
We've used it to aid other departments. We don't let the other departments operate it specifically because you have to be trained to operate it. Yes, we have gone to assist other departments with it.
Okay.
Sure.
If you got to get somewhere high or something, that's really what this does, right? The elevator
Yes.
personnel?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you have to be trained to operate it, so we don't just lend the truck out to other departments, but we take the truck to aid other departments, yes.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
It could be liable if something happened and they're not trained to
Right.
operate that. It
Yes.
just happened in the past.
Yeah, it's a dangerous piece of equipment if you're not careful.
Any public comments or questions about this agenda item? Mhm. Steve?
Carl Sides, since this is a used vehicle, what is the cost of this vehicle that you all the bucket truck you all finna get, since it's used and you say it's in good condition and everything?
You saying if we were to buy this same vehicle new?
No. What you would be purchasing for? How much it would cost the city to get a used vehicle, and what is the status of the, how much time y'all have for it before this, the time limit run out and everything else?
The cost of it is $125,000, and the truck is actually on site now, so we can take possession of it tomorrow.
So you all will have a warranty on this truck for how many years? Or
No
y'all buying it as is?
No warranty, as is.
All right.
Any other public comments or questions about this agenda item? All right, seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
PT,
Yes.
Motion carries as well. Next item on the agenda is Councilwoman at-large Smith.
Thank you, Mayor. For final, this is ordinance number 014 of 2023. Is an ordinance to amend section 16(1)(1) of the Code of Ordinance of the City of Natchitoches to provide for an enlarged local Natchitoches Historic District, which section is located in chapter 16.1 of the Code of Ordinances entitled Historic District. providing for advertising, further providing for severability, and further providing for a repealer and effective date of ordinance. And this was introduced at the February 13th meeting. And I move for adoption of ordinance number 014 of 2023.
I second.
Motion has been made and seconded. I do, council, have a few individuals here I know who may be representing Texas Street businesses. Mr. Gilly, see you in the back. And I also see Mr. Mark Lewis as well from Natchitoches, but Houston, well, I'm not gonna call him a Houstonian because he's from Natchitoches. So good to see you here today, sir. Pleasantly surprised to see you. Mr. Gilly, is there any comments you want to have? We didn't speak prior to this meeting. I see you here. I didn't know if you wanted to say something on this item. Okay, yeah, just Mr. Gilly, and he can introduce himself better than I can, but he's the new owner, Bayou Soul. We have him there on Texas Street, so he's been really busy. So, hey, just state your first and last name, Mr. Gilly,
Michael Gilly.
and you can go into whatever you may have to say.
If anyone doesn't know me, my name is Michael Gilly. I'm from Natchez, Louisiana. I'm also the current police chief of the village of Natchez, also captain of patrol in Ringo, and I also own a business. I formerly wanted to have the business in Natchez, but God put his hands in it, so I ended up in Natchitoches for the revitalization of Texas Street. When I took over the business, there were some things I didn't know, especially with the alcoholic ordinance that had been put in place a long time ago. And that's very vital for our business. My business is to provide soul food catering services and a space where you can get fresh food, different varieties of food, and bring something different to Natchitoches with the soul food culture. We also have a night on Friday when you can't get lunch Monday through Thursday. You can come enjoy the evenings with us. We do know alcohol is a big thing for some people, not all. Everyone doesn't support it. Everybody doesn't consume alcoholic beverages. But that is something that the west side of Natchitoches and Texas Street doesn't have, and I would like to see that part of town have it to bring it to that side. So if you feel it in your heart to vote on it, to pass it, we would love to utilize it. We'll make sure that the business is secured. We do have a personal security detail to be there on the premises to make sure there's no violence, no increase of crime, disturbing the peace issues. And if you have any questions from me, I have an open door policy, open phone line. I can give you my information.
Do have a question, Mr. Gilly?
Yes, sir.
Will you put me a piece of that blueberry cake to the side?
I got you. I got you.
Keep on running out, my man.
I got you.
All right, but any other questions about this agenda item for Mr. Gilly?
Mayor, could I add that at the introduction of this, Mr. Steve Harton, Vice Chair of the Historic District Commission, came and spoke very eloquently in favor of pulling this entire area into the district.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder, Randy. That is, he did speak well on that. All right, no questions for Mr. Gilly? Thank you for being here, sir, and congratulations to you.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. And we also have Mr. Lewis here from Natchitoches, son of Joe the Barber. And just want to know if there's some remarks you have, sir. I know you drove away from Houston, so.
No, sir, gentlemen spoke very well, same thing.
Okay. All righty.
Mayor?
Council, any comments or
Just-
questions?
We had some discussions at the last meeting, and unfortunately, I never got clarity. But is there a reason that we're not taking in the entire Texas Street corridor?
Yeah, I met and I spoke to a few council members. We're looking at maybe a month and a half, 2 months, just kind of overlooking the entire local district and maybe revisiting, including some more areas.
Okay,
Yeah.
because then we also had the MLK area, which I think is critical.
Right.
Right.
There's
Church Street, I mean,
a lot of
Fifth Street,
structures
yeah.
in there, and now most of the houses on this side are reaching or gone past 100 years. So it could be beneficial in a lot of areas.
Right, and I think what Alex and I talked about is, this is not necessarily the end, as he just
Right.
pointed out.
We'll meet 2 by 2, get everybody's suggestions, and incorporate whatever you all want. Make move forward.
Yep. Okay, any other comments, questions, council?
That was my only comment is, want to go ahead and push this through, would like to see it, expand further, because I think it'd do a lot of good.
Yeah.
So, that's all.
Right. Any public comments or questions here? All right, seeing none, Mrs. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
P.T.
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. The next item on the agenda is ordinance number 15 of 2023, and that's Councilman Harrington.
I'm sorry, I'm bringing it up on my thing. Ordinance number 15 of 2023 is an ordinance of the Natchitoches City Council creating an economic development district within the city of Natchitoches to be named the Natchitoches Economic Development District F, State of Louisiana, defining the boundaries thereof, from which certain area, local, and potentially state sales and use tax increments will be determined and used to finance economic development projects within the district. All is authorized by Part 2 of Chapter 27 of Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950 is amended, and providing for other matters in connection with the foregoing. This has already been introduced. I move to adopt ordinance number 15 of 2023.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt this ordinance. I do want to say Mr. Busada, Mike Busada, was on his way. He's done these economic development districts for us. He's putting the legal work for this one as well. He's in D.C. flying and is playing, you know how the airlines are, backed up nowadays. So, but there are just a few points that he emailed to me, and I'll just share with you for the record. Says, number one, this ordinance only establishes the Mill District Economic Development District. This ordinance does not have any effect on the tax rate within the district, but instead simply allows the city to use any excess undedicated sales tax revenue generated within the district to help revitalize the area in the district. Then number three, we will introduce a separate resolution in the coming weeks that will address the levy of new EDD sales and hotel occupancy taxes for economic development, along with a partnership with the Texas Street Economic Development District. Any action related to new EDD taxes will be in coordination with existing business owners in the districts. All right, and he also says, anybody who wants to speak with him by phone, he's able to do that. So probably on a plane right now, but certainly after the meeting, council, if you've got any questions. But again, those 3 points, and I can send these 3 points over to you as well. All right. Oh, that's right. Thanks for pointing that out. I see you're here, Jeff. Or do you need, you want to say something on this, Jeff? That's you, Mr. Thomas. Do you want to speak on this today? And you're used to this, Jeff, put your first and last name, but I know you're used to it.
I was here a year ago when we went through this on South Drive, and, the city supported it, and we came through with what we said it would do, and that was to bring in new tenants. But I'm affiliated with the group, so that already has the Flying Heart Brew Pub over there. So I was involved with the Cane River Brewing Company that developed that. So I have firsthand knowledge, and I think this district would be a boon for that area. That's a large area. It's going to take a lot of capital to make these improvements, but there's a tremendous amount of potential if the city will get behind it and make this happen. So.
Jeff, referring a year ago to the River South Commons Economic Development District, and on Saturday, he, myself, Wingo, Randy, and Durden, is his name, did the ribbon cutting for Harbor Freight.
That's correct.
about a month or so ago, Big Lots.
That's right.
Right.
So,
I wasn't in town for Bales, but of course they're open too.
and then in October, Bell's Outlet opened up, so the shopping center's 100% full. Traffic is flowing in and out, and tenants so far from talking with them are happy with what they see. So,
Shows you what this economic incentive tool can do for an area, because I know it have been years of vacancy there. But like you say, 100% capacity is impressive. So we did a post yesterday and about it, and so
okay.
it's good. Any comments, questions? And just state your name for the record. We make you do that.
First name is Jeff, last name is Thomas.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Well, of course, we know you, but comments, questions? No? Council? Good.
Mayor, if I could ask,
You want to ask Mr. Thomas something?
well, no.
Okay.
It's just, maybe, I don't know, Ed or somebody can help. One thing that we had with that area, you know, in the process of trying to develop it, was to move public works out of that area.
Yep.
So just trying to get an update of where we are with that.
We actually have a meeting. Good, thank you for that question. We actually have a meeting on Friday dealing with that. I know the survey has been something that has kind of held us up. So we'll get a meeting, and eventually we got to come back before council to advertise for bids at some point. Donald, is there anything in addition to that?
No, sir. We're just waiting on the survey to get in, and I talked to Norman, and we got the meeting set up for Friday to discuss about what he got. He already have the drawings already of the building, the way he want to set it up, so we just waiting on that.
Yep. Councilman PT, and I'll be able to tell you more Friday after the meeting. Okay? No, I appreciate the question. All right, any other comments or questions?
I have one for Mr. Washington. My father is a partner with Flying Heart, so should I abstain from this vote? Because it's in the district.
It's in the district. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah.
I think you said that you think that'll be a good idea for
I just
Mr.
asked.
Harrington
I just
to
wanted
abstain. Okay. All right. Kudoki, any public comments or questions? All right, seeing none, Mr. Stacy, roll call vote.
Eli,
Yes.
Nelson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Harrington,
Abstain.
PT,
Yes.
All right, that motion carries. All right, next and last item on the agenda for today, and it's only for introduction, and it's read by Councilman PT.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance number 016 of 2023, an ordinance amending ordinance number 59 of 2011 of the City of Natchitoches, Louisiana, to repeal the descriptions and destinations of existing City of Natchitoches City Council districts, establish new City of Natchitoches City Council districts, describe the boundaries of each new district, and otherwise provide for an effective date of the ordinance. And this is for introduction.
All right, yeah, and this is just something that happens every 10 years, right? The redistricting of the council district. So this is, as I mentioned earlier, for introduction, Mr. Cedric Floyd, who we contracted to do this redistricting plan for us, which he's met with the council members. Y'all may have his cell phone number, I think. So I know he met 2 by 2, he met 1 by 1. People called, emailed him. So it's just being introduced today. He's really the expert, so there's not much I can really answer, honestly, at this point. I know there's some dialogue about this particular map going, and so we're just introducing it at this point. It's really the best I can give you. So I don't know if there are any comments, council. Certainly questions we'll want to encourage you to get those to Mr. Cedric Floyd. As I know, again, you all have been talking to Mr. Floyd about this process and about the map, so forth, so on. I wish he could have been here, but he had a conflict. But I think the other meetings going forward, he will be here to articulate, to answer questions, and things of that sort, okay? But certainly in the meantime, whether it's 2 weeks from now or whatever the case may be, certainly want you all to reach out to Mr. Floyd and ask those questions that need to be asked. All right? Okie dokie. Nothing else on that, right? All right, Steve, we have a few announcements, I believe. We're always encouraging people to download the Regroup app about emergencies. Thankfully, we haven't had to really had, Hurricane Laura and Winter Storm 2021 type things, but the way Mother Nature works is you just don't know when it's going to happen, and it's best to be prepared. We have been sending them out about the sinkhole on Jefferson when we needed to do that. We've been sending them out about the current street rehabilitation that's going on, and we probably can go ahead and do another update on that as well. So, but we put those out so people know what city streets are blocked, and also for emergency reasons. Then the other thing, of course, knowing what's going on. Luckily, we live in a city where you do have things that's going on. And a lot of times we could take that for granted. But I was speaking to somebody who lives in a city that's actually double our size, and they were saying, look, there's nothing to do in their city. They have to come to Natchitoches to do things. I know people in Natchitoches say, ain't got nothing to do. But other people actually think in Natchitoches, there are things to do. So just download the Go Natchitoches app, and you'll know what's going on, especially as our farmers markets start to pick up, and our there's always live music and certain cool things to buy there. Also festivals and things like that are starting to come alive as well. Reading on the River is another really cool event. I'm sorry, go back real quick. That's going to be March 4th, which is this. Yeah, that's this Saturday. Okay, yeah, this Saturday. Reading on the River. I know I'll be there, I think, at noon, and they have other guests slated as well. Really cool event for the kids, free books, arts, crafts. So, of course, there'll be music and things like that. So that's something you wanna do, and then no cost. So let's try to get as many kids as we can to hear some people from the community to read. They always put me behind Chief Wynn and the doggone, what's your guy named, Chief Wynn? Sparky, man, and it's so hard competing with Sparky. The kids just love Sparky. So that's a really difficult act to follow. So, but no, it's a great time on the river. All right, well, we got this, all right, Boot, how you say it? Butte? The Butte tribe of Bayou Bourbeau. All right, thank y'all for helping me. All right, so this is also something that's happening this Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. So, again, free seating to the public. A lot of cool things happen all the time at the Sports Hall of Fame Museum. And, it's just about making sure we know what these are. That's why I say that app is really, really critical. And making sure this event is on the app. I need to double check it. All right, but that's going on at 2 p.m. on Saturday. Is that all we got, Steve? Oh, no, we got Blooming on the Bricks. March 11, another really good event. Plants and flowers and shrubs, but also food, children's activities. The Mayor's Health and Fitness Council will have an event going on there. So, we're excited about that, some exercise going on. So, come out to that from starting at 9 o'clock. I think it's typically 9 to 2 p.m. on that Saturday. All right, is there another deal? NHF is hosting the second annual Gather in the Garden in conjunction with Blooming on the Bricks. So join us for breakfast and blooms from 9 a.m. to 10:15 at the historic Cunningham Law Offices at 552nd Street for a light breakfast tour of the Mildred Hart Bailey Gardens and a keynote speaker. Chris, they're testing my, God dog it, Wiesen, how you say it? Come on, help me out again, y'all. Weisinger, okay, Weisinger. All right, and the Bulb Hunter with the Southern Bulb Company, books and bulbs will be for sale. All right, so really good event. All right, do we have anything else? All right, so again, several things going on this weekend and then even next weekend, okay? All righty, certainly grateful for the individuals who put together the Black History Parade. I think it was a success, and Councilwoman at Large, thank you for that. We had fun doing it. Parade season is officially over. All right, at this time, we will hear a motion to adjourn.
Mayor, I so move that we adjourn. Second motion.
All right, motion has been made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, folks. Have a good day. Be safe.